Hi guys, welcome back to Reserved Investments on YouTube. Today's video we're going to be talking about organic collectability versus artificially manufactured collectability in the greater antiques and collectibles trade. Now I'm going to try to keep this video fairly short because I want to do this as an introduction. Then later I'll be expanding more into these topics on other videos. So I'm going to start out this video in a unique way. I'm going to show you some items in my personal collection, of which I got to wear light gloves to handle, and you'll see why in a bit here. The items that I'm going to show you are from prehistoric times, believe it or not. These are Native American arrowheads in very high grade that our prehistoric ancestors used and crafted out of rock. Most preferably, they would have used flint, but some other materials like granite and other types of similar rocks and minerals were used to make arrowheads as well that prehistoric men used for either defense and or hunting, protection, what have you. So we've all probably come across arrowheads at some point in our lives. Whether we collected them, we've been to a museum and witnessed them. Well, these are from the Apple Creek location. These are called Apple Creek points, from the area in the United States where they were discovered. Now these are very high grade condition. So I'm going to hold them up to the camera just so that you can see them. Okay, I'm sorry about the glare. And I have several more to show you guys. Okay, these are worth several $100s each. Most of these are pretty much, the ones that I'm showing you are $400 or less valued on the secondary market as of today. Now, what makes something like this unique? What makes it collectible? Well, here's something you got to understand. When we start talking about items from the prehistoric age, we're actually in a segment of the antiques and collectibles trade called Antiquities. Now, I'm not going to delve too far into Antiquities in this video because this video has to do with pop culture-based collecting. We're getting to that. But Antiquities are a very sophisticated subject within the trade. There's a lot of fakes out there. There's a lot of reproductions. There's a lot of scams based on these items. There's a lot of people that take advantage of collectors in the greater antiquities marketplace, even more so than the art, coin, and currency realm. You have to be really careful if you're going to enter this type of marketplace. So, to be fair, I'm showing you some of my least valuable Native American arrowheads from my collection. However, these are all top-tier specimens from this particular area where they were discovered and also this time frame. So these items, again, the most expensive item that I just showed you would be about $400. The cheapest would probably be around $200. On a good day, you can probably get one of these for $150, $175. All the way up on a bad day, you would pay $500 to $600 a piece. So these are all high grade. Now, here's what a lot of people don't understand. One thing that makes these items unique, when you start collecting antiquities and items of this nature, you have to understand that they were created thousands of years ago. So, for something like this to be worth money in 2019, that means that for a large portion of these items' life, people didn't care about them. People would go to the woods. They would walk through caves, maybe they were splunkers or just early explorers, and they would see items like this, Native American arrowheads, prehistoric pots and stoneware. They would see items like this scattered all around the forest, all around the areas that they were settling in, and they didn't even think to pick up these items and put them away. They just let them lay. In fact, I could tell you stories where even to this day, people are still discovering items of this nature with authentic Native American arrowheads. A lot of prehistoric items are still being discovered because nobody cared about them. They had no value. Now, what's my point in stating this? This is an example of an item that had long-term organic collectability. At the beginning of these items' lives, for even the next 1,000, 2,000 years out, nobody cared about these objects. People never ever thought that an arrowhead, and I'm going to pick one up without my gloves, an arrowhead like this would ever be worth money on the secondary marketplace. Even in the 1700s, 1800s, you would still be able to go out into the woods in any corner of America, North America, and find an item like this. People still didn't save them thinking they would be worth money in the future. This is an exact prime example of a collectible today that has organic growth. This is almost comparable to items like coins, currency, historical documents, first edition books. Items like that, when they were first either minted, published, or printed, or produced, were not meant to be held for the long term and be considered valuable collectibles. Now, I know what some of you are going to say. Well, Sean, that's not true. They were collecting coins for thousands of years now. That is true. But the average person who was hoarding Morgan silver dollars or gold dollars back in the 1800s and early 1900s was hoarding those items for their precious metal content, not the collectability of the history and the coin itself. That's the difference, guys. It's just like currency. Currency is harder to find in high grade than coins. Reason being is everybody saved coins from the classic era because they were made out of silver and gold. Well, pieces of money in your wallet were made of paper. Nobody knew that the government would be around to honor that currency. So most of that stuff was spent immediately. In fact, if you study the financial history of the United States and you learn about the gold standard, people used to go to their bank and they would cash in silver certificates and gold certificates for silver coins and gold coins. That's why there's so much more silver and gold coins on average out there than there is of paper currency. Now, I'll be talking about that in depth in another video. That's not the point of this video. But what I'm trying to get you guys see is these type of items are an example of an organic collectible or an organic antique. At the time of their creation or at the time of their printing or minting, they were never meant to be held long-term by the masses as something that's going to go up in value. Now, let's compare that to what's happening today with Magic the Gathering, with our wonderful amiibo. And yes, this is the Link's Awakening Link amiibo that just came out a couple of days ago in regards to the wonderful Nintendo Switch release for Link's Awakening, which is one of my favorite all-time Game Boy games. So you better believe I pre-ordered a copy for myself. For those of you that wonder if I do buy this stuff for my own personal enjoyment, the answer is yes. I can't wait to play this game. Now, when we look at items like the amiibo, like the Dreamer's Edition of Link's Awakening, even going as far as to look at Fire Emblem Fates, which was in limited supply for the Nintendo 3DS system back in 2016. And we can even compare a lot of this to what's happening right now with the mass speculation and hoarding in items like limited run games, strictly limited games, even some of the Play Asia exclusives that are hitting the market en masse, as well as what's happening in the Magic the Gathering realm in present day in regards to a lot of the Mythic Edition special foiling booster boxes that are selling on the market for $250, $300, $350 a box that people are buying en masse, thinking that because these items were made in quote-unquote limited quantities, they're going to be worth money in the future. Now, let's talk about this a little bit. To be fair, if we take our DeLorean time machine and we go back to the year 2016, and you bought or you pre-ordered a copy of Fire Emblem Fates Special Edition, and you kept it factory sealed till today, 2019, you can get roughly $200 to $300 for that factory sealed item on eBay and or Amazon as of the creation of this video. So, if you paid $79.99 for that item, you're absolutely right. You made spectacular returns in those 3 years. But this is what people don't understand. In order for you to sell that item for $200 or $300 today, there has to be a buyer on the other side of that transaction that's looking at this item going, oh my God, Well, they only made a limited number of these. This item, in the future, this item's going to be rare. I better pay $200 to $300 to that person who bought it brand new off the shelf or pre-ordered it through GameStop for $80, and I better pay him a premium because 10 to 20 years out, this item's going to be rare. They only made so many of them. Well, here's the problem. This item does not have organic collectability and or long-term growth. It was a mass-produced, flash-in-the-pan item that was created by Nintendo that was available for pre-order only. Another great example I like to use in sync with that is this. The limited edition, or so-called limited edition, 20th anniversary Pokemon system. This one's VGA grade at 90, and this was also released in 2016. This had a retail price of $199.99 plus tax. So, if you bought this back in 2016 and you're selling it now in the open market, you've done very well. However, this video is directed at the wonderful people that think that buying something like that Pokemon system or paying a premium for an amiibo like this or any of your new Magic the Gathering products or Lego products with the idea in your head that all these items are going to be worth money in the future because they only made a limited amount of these items. How many times have we heard that before, guys? That is completely false. There is no organic long-term growth or collectability in items in which a manufacturer only made a limited amount of the item in question. Doesn't matter if we're talking amiibos, doesn't matter if we're talking about Dreamers editions of games, doesn't matter if we're referring it to Magic the Gathering products, Lego sets, whatever you want to apply this to. Funko Pops is another great example, which I did a video on. A lot of you guys need to understand, long-term organic collectability is dictated by two things. It's dictated, number one, by the market itself, and number two, it's dictated by the tastes and or preference of collectors in the future acting in that market. So let me use this as an example. I really like this amiibo. I think Nintendo did a great job creating this amiibo. I mean, it's cute. It really takes me back. I've said this before. Link's Awakening was one of my favorite all-time Game Boy games. I had the Game Boy Color version and played it till my fingers bled. I love the game. So this really tears at the nostalgia part of my heart, although some of you guys claim I don't have a heart. I assure you I do. It really pulls at the emotional attachment I have to this game. It really did a great job. However, guys, I don't think 20, 30, even 10 years out, anybody is going to care about this amiibo unless you have an emotional attachment to the Link's Awakening like I do. And that doesn't mean this item or even this is going to be a good investment down the line in looking into the future long term. It's just like a lot of the people that are buying limited run games. Sean, there's only 3,000 of these games printed. This item is going to be rare. It's going to be sought after. It's going to be valuable. What fundamentals are you applying that a copy of Dragon's Lair Trilogy for the Nintendo Switch or the PlayStation 4 is going to be sought after 5, 10, 20 years from now? If anything, I'm going to just state this. If you have that item in your possession and you get back the money that you paid for it 5, 10, 20 years from now, consider it a win. Because most people who are attached to that item either already have a copy of the item, or number two, are just going to download it digitally in the future or the near term. They don't need to buy the original. What I'm getting at is, when we look at a game like Stadium Events, okay? Stadium Events has organic collectability. I remember, I said this in another video, so keep me honest, guys, those of you that watch all my videos. I used to go to Funkoland, and I think I had, 8 or 10 copies of Stadium Events at one time that I paid less than $10 for all of them. I ended up selling one copy as early as, I want to say, 2015, 2016, and I got close to $10,000 for it. That's an example of an item that has organic collectability. Would I pay $10,000 or more for that item in 2019 and call it a long-term investment? Hell no. Absolutely not. It's not for me, guys. I would rather take that $10,000, and you already heard me say this before, you know what I'm going to say, put it in coins, currency, artwork, collectible first edition books, or historic items. Items that have genuine scarcity and also have long-term growth and validity as we look out into the marketplace 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years down the line. That's what I like to invest in. That said, if you want to speculate in some of these items, like if you're the guy that pre-ordered a Link amiibo for Link's Awakening and you want to flip it on eBay or Amazon and you want to pull maybe, $10 or $20 profit off of doing that, and that's a lot of money to you and it's worth it, by all means do it. I'm not here to judge. But what I am going to say, if you're the guy that's paying a premium for an item like this because you couldn't get the item on launch day, or you didn't pre-order it, or Nintendo didn't, quote-unquote, make enough of these items, I've got two pieces of advice for you. Number one, be careful if you're attempting to invest in items like this for the long term. These are flash-in-the-pan, modern-era speculative tropes is what I call them. That's really what they are. And I have a whole video coming up devoted to this topic. But this doesn't have any long-term growth, in my opinion. Number two, if you are one of those people that are paying a premium on the secondary market to get items like this and items like this, you cannot get mad at the speculators who are selling them to you. You can't. The problem and the people that you have an issue with is Nintendo itself. Nintendo is the one that is making these items in an artificial scarcity environment, and they're convincing you that you need to pay a premium to get these items because they're in demand, or they're going to be rare, or oh my god, if you don't have this game, your Nintendo 3DS collection isn't going to be complete, and you have to have a complete 3DS collection. I mean, look at all those people that have bought into the Nintendo Wii and have complete Nintendo Wii collections, how much money they're making. Wink, wink. You get my point, guys. A lot of this stuff is speculative in nature. It's not meant for organic, long-term collectability, unless you are a short-term speculator. If you're a short-term speculator, I have videos coming up that's going to cater to you, because I make money in a lot of this stuff too. The difference is with me is I don't get attached to it. I flip it. I get rid of it. I take the money, and I'm happy. I don't care if the item on the secondary market goes down in value. I don't care after I sold it if it goes up in value. I made my money and left the market. I'm perfectly fine doing that. And that may sound harsh to some of you guys, but the reality is that's how you run a business. That's how you run a successful business in the greater antiques and collectibles marketplace. You can't get attached to everything you have. Like I said this before in another video, the reason why I like coins, currency, historical documents, collectible first edition books, I buy that item once, okay? I put it in a safety deposit box or secure long-term storage. I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to keep my pulse on the market. Something like this, I guarantee you, if we go 5 years out and you look at an item like this, the long-term market prospects are going to start going like this. It's not going to be a constant across the board. I know my copy, my first edition copy of The Great Gatsby by F. Scott Fitzgerald, sitting in a safety deposit box, is always going to have relative value to what I paid for that item. It may not double or triple in value in the next 5 to 10 years, but you know what? Its value is stable. It's something I can count on for being an item or an asset that's diversified against my Wall Street and real estate holdings. That's what I look for when I invest in this stuff. One final point, guys. I want to talk a little bit to you guys who are collecting Amiibo. Amiibo hit price peaks right around 2016 to the beginning of 2017. A lot of these items now have lost a lot of steam compared to the value that they were getting on the secondary market at that time. That doesn't mean you can't own Amiibo. I have a room upstairs where I have literally a shelf and a half like this full of Amiibos. If you watch my video on Amiibo collecting, you can see that actual shelf. I show it on film, so you can see all the Amiibos I have. I love them. But the thing is, and this is what people are getting wrong, there's a lot of people that are going, well, you have a first print Link from Link's Awakening. Well, down the line, if they make another version of this, the first print's going to be worth more. That's a fallacy. Anytime we look at variants or first prints in regards to collectibles, the only way they become valuable and worth more money than subsequent printings is if further down the line, 5, 10, 15 years out, the collecting marketplace notices and values those particular variants and or first editions. Be very careful from people telling you that my amiibo is a first print. It's worth more than the subsequent re-release that came out a few years later. So if we're talking like an item like Bowser Jr., which was only available at first in Toys R Us stores, which now went defunct, that item, some people are claiming, is worth more than the second printing of Bowser Jr. that was available at Walmart, Best Buy, and on Amazon. That's a fallacy. There is no premium at present time that should be paid to an item like an amiibo because it's too speculative and it's too new. The marketplace hasn't had a chance to digest the future validity or collectability of that item. So be very careful if some of you guys are going out and paying a premium for people on eBay who are advertising first print amiibos. That's just some advice for you guys, for someone out there who is also collecting and also enjoys this stuff. I would never pay a premium for this stuff. I have never in my life paid more than the retail going price for a Nintendo amiibo, and I will never in the future pay more than the going retail price for an amiibo going forward. I paid $15.99 for this amiibo. If I didn't get it and I didn't pre-order it, guess what? I would not be buying this on the secondary marketplace. It's not worth it to me. It's too much of a speculative item. I think I did pretty well explaining this in this video. However, if you do have any comments, any feedback, if you feel I missed the mark in this video, please leave me a comment and let me know. I value your feedback. I thank all my new subscribers. Again, if you're watching my content and you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing. One of the ways that I value the amount of time I'm putting into this and how I decide if I want to create more videos is by the people that subscribe to this channel. It's not so much about likes, although they're appreciated, but it is more to me about subscribers and also comments that I'm getting. If I start getting a lot of negative comments, then I know obviously either the format that I'm doing these videos in or the subject matter at hand is not being received positively. So I thank you for all your feedback, even if it is a little bit critical. I don't mind the critical comments. I'm more apt to respond to those than the troll comments. So again, guys, I thank you so much and enjoy your day.